Ladies and gentlemen, history is happening. I want to thank you all for your prayers, your support, spreading the articles, the videos. You are soldiers, every man, woman, and child of you, regardless of what color you are or where you're from, in the fight against globalists. They're building a world that's going to be free of humans, where they merge with machines and become gods, they believe. Rachel Maddow and others make fun of me on almost a daily basis for saying that, but all I'm doing is quoting the lead scientist at Google and other major companies. This is their goal. Whether they're going to be able to attain this goal or not is a question. But those of us covering this are not the ones who are insane. We are covering twisted people. And they have this paradox where they try to act like we're the crazy people for covering all the weird stuff they're involved in and not the other way around. I mean, look at this out of the London Telegraph. Motherless babies possible as scientists create live offspring without need for female egg. And artificial wombs, and the list goes on and on. I'm going to extend this for one day and one day only. Quite frankly, because we're not ready to launch our new special yet until tomorrow. And I would take advantage of it because contractually I'm already supposed to be stopping this. But when you're the #1 distributor of one of the largest companies in the nation, storable foods, you're allowed to, I guess, bend the rules a bit to get people the best deals. 30 to 40% off all of the entire line of My Patriot Supply foods, private labeled under the name InfoWars Select. You can buy the same great food right next to it at InfoWarsStore.com if you'd rather pay 30 to 40% more and have the My Patriot Supply label. Exact same food, same age, produced right here in America. They've got their plants turned up so high that a lot of times this food has been packaged a day or two before it's put on an 18-wheeler and rolled out to your town, your city. And nobody can beat these prices. The selection, the quality, you know, there's a nexus for how much you pay and the quality. Really good quality, but really low price. Quite frankly, you can pay 3-4 times this and get stuff that is like gourmet. But a lot of this tastes really, really good. All of it is decent, and a lot of it is extremely delicious. But there's a nexus point. This is what I chose for my family, what I've chosen for the office, what I'm stockpiling, because it's super high quality, really tasty, really durable, packaged properly, lasts the longest, and it's the lowest price. I mean, there is stuff that tastes like dirt that is more than this. You just cannot find a better bang for your buck than the My Patriot Supply food at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139. And by the way, I've gone from having the solar panel system and the well water and living out in the country and having some storable food to ramping up to going on to solar and putting in another well and getting more storable food and getting more firearms. And quite frankly, I'm going into the area of getting the gourmet storable food, which we're not selling yet, but I'm testing it all out and trying to make deals right now. So we'll also have that little bit of caviar level stuff that you have kind of as dessert with the stockpile. So a lot of stuff's happening here. The point is, what we sell is what I use and what I've researched and what I am having in my emergency preparedness myself. Quite frankly, I'd have 4 or 5 other major food sponsors. It's just hard to find somebody this good for the price. The only other galaxy when it comes to storable food is the super gourmet stuff. And quite frankly, I'm diving into it because, man, there's some really good stuff out there. So I'm in the middle of that enjoyable research. When I take my son, you know, dove hunting or something for the weekend, or I go camping with the kids, or I go fishing with the kids and the family, I'm deep in research of gourmet storable food. It'll be showing up in the next month or so at InfoWarsStore.com. And again, the reason I'm doubling down and really getting into this is because it's gone from a possibility to a probability to a certainty that we're going to see things get worse and worse, at least for the foreseeable future, but then things will get better after that. I don't know how bad this global meltdown is going to be. I don't know how big these wars are going to be. All I know is most elites moving to New Zealand. They're leaving the United States. They're leaving Israel. They're leaving Europe. They're running for the hills. The Russians are digging in. It's in mainstream news. The Russians are buying emergency storable food and digging in. I mean, it is a crazy time. there was a big headline a few days ago or last week that world experts agree the planet has never been in greater danger of World War III. Now, I'm not saying World War III is a certainty, but global financial meltdown, crises, social problems are clearly intensifying and have gone from a probability to a certainty because they're already happening, and it's getting worse. And you've got George Soros and the rest of the globalists running around trying to divert everybody from the huge crimes they've committed and all the bad things they've done with having us all fight with each other. We're seeing weaponized culture war garbage being carried out along ethnic and religious lines all over the world. And that's why I am personally getting prepared and, yes, funding our information war with a symbiotic program of getting people prepared with the very best quality, very lowest prices we can on nutraceuticals, on the supplements. But I've gone from maybe 10% getting prepared and 90% offense to 70% offense, 30% defense. Now, some will say, well, it seems like you're working harder. Yes, I've overall upped my amount of resistance and our operation. So that even though I've cut back in the overall pie on how much time I spend trying to save things, we're fighting harder than ever. But we're fighting to try to fix things. We're fighting to try to stave things off. We're fighting to try to stabilize. We're fighting to try to warn people. We're fighting to try to reach out to other countries and other groups that don't want to have World War III, to have alliances of just ideology, alliances of sanity. We're doing everything we can. But quite frankly, I have to take care of my kids. And so I'm just telling you, never in 20-plus years on air have I started digging in. And I'm digging in now. And it's because my instinct tells me that we've got some rough times ahead. And you're going to see, as things get worse and worse, who's who. You're going to see people you thought were patriots flip and work for the enemy. You're going to see folks you thought were on the fence or with the enemy come over to our side. Because the battle lines are getting clear. 20 years ago, it wasn't clear who was who. 10 years ago, it wasn't that clear. Not even 5 years ago. It's crystal clear right now. And that's why we go to this next report. Now, the New York Daily News, Democrat run, are openly saying he should step down. It's outrageous. It's terrible. We have seen Hillary Clinton come out and say that Trump supporters are deplorable. And the media come out and say all of them are deplorable and basically aren't even humans. We've heard her say that the alt-right, that is the real right, doesn't have a right to exist. I mean, we're hearing final solution type talk. We're seeing announcements they're going after the press. We're seeing huge developments. We're seeing the media work lockstep in deception. And so the governor, who I'm a fan of, by the way, just when I see him on TV and stuff talking and his initiative to bring jobs to Kentucky, came out and said, listen, blood's going to get spilled. The Tree of Liberty. Well, that's the kind of stuff George Washington and Thomas Jefferson and Barry Goldwater and Ronald Reagan said. It's like when Trump says if we lose the election and the courts take our guns, we have no recourse, I guess, but the Second Amendment. That's what everybody from Charlton Heston to Ronald Reagan to yours truly has said, to Ted Nugent. I mean, that is a standard refrain of come and take it from my cold dead hands. And they acted like that Trump should stand down, Trump should resign, Trump should be disqualified because of that statement, while Hillary and the globalists destabilized the nation. No, this guy is now presidential material down the road. Kentucky governor urged to resign after saying blood will be shed. Well, see, he's a former business owner. He's a company owner. He's like Trump. He doesn't want power. He's taking a demotion to be governor. You think real people that actually have jobs and create jobs and work hard and like to get things done and are problem solvers, you think they want to work in government? The Republican governor of Kentucky, foolishly, they say, implied Americans will have to die if Hillary Clinton wins this November, and calls for his impeachment are now amassing. So that's how they spin it. No, calls for him to be given a medal are now increasing. Speaking at the Voters Values Summit in Washington, D.C., on Saturday, they just now found it, a loosely Thomas Jefferson quoting Governor Matt Bevin bizarrely hinted at his own children having to shed blood. So this is all hypothetical, down the road, someday we might have to go to the Second Amendment. That's in the Declaration of Independence, that it's our right and duty. So he quotes Thomas Jefferson, and they start running around saying he should have to step down. Next, they'll say he should be arrested. See, Even though the New York Times says kill Donald Trump, that's okay. So that's where they're going. I have 9 children. It breaks my heart to think that it might be their blood that is needed to redeem something, to reclaim something that we, through our apathy and our indifference, have given away. He went on to appropriate a segment of a letter written by Thomas Jefferson in 1787, which in part states, the tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants. We have a T-shirt that says that. A Gadsden flag yellow T-shirt that we sell at InfoWarsStore.com that says the quote on the back. It's a yellow shirt like the flag. I mean, they are taking normal Americana and making it dirty now. So here is the governor quoting the 3rd president of the United States. So the occupiers, the globalists, the political aliens to our system are freaked out by it because they don't breathe this oxygen that we breathe. They breathe the foul fumes of hell based on bondage and enslavement and systems like North Korea.
If Hillary Clinton were to win the election, do you think it's possible that we'll be able to survive that? Would we ever be able to recover as a nation? And while there are people who have stood on this stage and said we would not, I would beg to differ, but I will tell you this. I do think it would be possible, but at what price? The roots of the tree of liberty are watered by what? The blood of who? The tyrants, to be sure, but who else? The patriots. Whose blood will be shed? It may be that of those in this room. It might be that of our children and grandchildren. I have 9 children. It breaks my heart to think that it might be their blood that is needed to redeem something, to reclaim something that we, through our apathy and our indifference, have given away. Don't let it happen. Of and by and for the people means of and by and for the people. This is our right. It is our privilege. This is not something that came by accident, nor will it be preserved by indifference. It takes the people being engaged. When our founding fathers pledged their lives and their fortunes and their sacred honors, this wasn't a bumper sticker. They weren't trying to get elected to something. Every one of them gave some or all of those things. A tremendous sacrifice.
For those that don't know, maybe you're new listeners, maybe you're Rachel Maddow tuning into the White House, he's quoted the Declaration of Independence. Most of that speech is Declaration of Independence mixed in with a guy that wrote most of it. He's credited with writing about 80% of it, Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence, then they debated it and passed it around and changed it, and he rewrote it. He wrote it. So the reason Thomas Jefferson in 1887 sounds like the Thomas Jefferson in 1776 is because it's the same Thomas Jefferson. It's all Thomas Jefferson, the founder of the Democratic Party. Now, he was the guy who tried in the first Declaration of Independence to ban slavery. He also tried in the first Constitution. You just couldn't do it because there was 500,000 people, and what do? Send folks back to Africa. And there were people that did not want black people to be free. But the point is, America at the same time England was trying to ban slavery, England did it about 60 years earlier than we did, and England led the world in banning it. Attacked scores of countries and dozens and dozens of nations' ships for 60-plus years, including American ships, to ban slavery. That's why by, 1810 or so, the transatlantic slave trade was over because the British would attack you. And the only reason I raise this is the only people that kept slavery going after that was the Arabs. And I'm not attacking the Arabs. Most Arabs aren't involved in slavery. The point is that this isn't taught in school. Collectively, we're taught Europe invented slavery, the U.S. perfected slavery, and it's not true. 2% of Southerners owned slaves. It's crazy what a red herring this is. And I'm not defending it. It's just not true that America is all about it. America tried to end this evil. And America has been all about trying to transcend it all along. And we never even began to scale the heights of the Declaration of Independence, Bill of Rights, Constitution, and the Renaissance and those ideas that it represented. But just getting a little bit of it created such wealth, the world's never seen it. Such freedom And that's why the globalists are in competition with the American system. They want to get rid of it because it's the Renaissance, it's the Enlightenment. It is science, it is freedom, it is openness, it is free association. It is the Renaissance that ended classism. You say, well, it's still here today. No, I mean, it in its declaration ended it and began a system where anybody in the world could potentially end up become successful and wealthy in America. Anybody born here could end up being the president of the United States or a member of Congress. Well, who wants to do that? Go set up your own company. Chart your own future. I want to go out to break because what the governor said is so evil, is so horrible. Why you better resign. They're making classic Americana somehow dirty, like pornography. With a little clip of myself 3 years ago speaking for the first time ever. They let somebody have a political speech at the Alamo because it was just a warehouse of the 50s, and the Daughters of the Republic of Texas, who were great folks, a lot of my family, relatives, took it over and said, we're not going to let it be political. Well, it got taken over by patriots in the state government. And now we do have our political rallies there. And I'm so honored to be one of the first people to speak at the Alamo after it was resurrected. Here's part of that speech.
We're not turning our guns in, and we're not running, and we're not backing down. If you want them, come and take them.
Again, I thought I'd just play a piece of that clip because, I mean, I'm proud of America. I'm proud of what we've done. I'm proud of the fact that we have more inventions and more wealth. The United States was 4% of the world's population. We're now 6% out of 100. And we had 50% of the wealth until about 15 years ago. And people say, oh, you're rich, you're greedy, you're evil, you exploited. That was the American system outside of globalism. Now that globalism's coming in, we're getting poor, and everybody else is, but a few tiny elites. And they admit that's their system. Tiny elites, crony capitalism, a.k.a. feudalism. We'll be back with huge news with the latest hacks. We're selling a product, DNA Force, that is the very best nutraceutical that we can produce. Dr. Group, you took years for you to develop DNA Force for us.
It's been something that I've been working on for a long time, Alex, because I think it's very, very important. What the aging process is when the cell replicates, we lose a little bit of our telomeres. Telomeres are the little cups on the end of our chromosomes.
And when it runs out, you start dying.
We chose the PQQ because it has over 175 different clinical trials. It's one of the most effective substances in the world. It works like an antioxidant. It works to repair nerve growth factor.
So this is a formula to deliver the maximum amount. It's in powder form.
We have so many 5-star reviews. I take this. This is the product that I take.
InfoWarsLife.com, and the profit we make. We fight the globals. We fight the New World Order. Secure your DNA Force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139.